Waiting to see if anybody's going to tune in here. I didn't announce it. What time is it anyway? 6:30. Okay. Okay, somebody's here. Somebody's here. This is why you guys gotta hit the bell. You never know when I'm going to go live. Hey, Tracy. Hi, girly. I gotta get with you about your session. We gotta schedule your session, Mona. All right, it looks like we got a few people tuning in here. So I figure, you know, I could go live today and kind of just do a review of this week's videos. I uploaded about 10 videos this week, so a lot of content. Thanks. About the verbal abuse, Tracy. She said the post earlier was great. Your ex destroyed your life. How to rebuild it. Well, we got to start with yourself, you know, with getting yourself stabilized and balanced. Because if you're walking around feeling shitty, so to speak. Okay, well, I'll shoot you an email, Mona, after the live chat. I'll shoot you an email. I got so many people inquiring about the free sessions that I'll probably do more than one. Consider the source spoke life to me. Okay. Yes. Yeah. You have to, because a lot of times we take things so personally when someone is saying something mean and nasty to us, especially if we, you know, used to have a relationship with them or we cared about their opinion. We had an attachment to them, and now they're talking all this stuff about us. And, you know, I could understand logically why it would hurt, but at the same token, we got to look at people's motives at that point and look at the whole picture and not let our emotions run away with us. Because logically, if we just broke up with that person, they're not too happy with us right now, and you know they're going to say something crazy, especially a narcissist. We know that. I understand, Mina. You don't have to stay that way. We don't have to stay that way, though. She said her ex left her broken. You could do that shadow work. I know you're busy. This is Mona. I know you are busy out. You're out here rebuilding lives. Your channel is the best I've come across. Aw, thanks, sweetie. So, like I was saying, I did upload at least 10 videos this week. I talked about the poor investment that we're making when we decide to be with a narcissist. I also talked about 10 reasons for the devalue, the ultimate reason that the narcissist devalues us. Jada, can you make me some water? I talked about the triggers, what triggers the narcissist to begin devaluing. I talked about 6 ways to get rid of the narcissist, and then I even made a part 2 and gave another 6 ways to get rid of them. We did a viewer requested video about a narcissistic husband ignoring a wife. We talked about forgiving ourselves and how to get an upper hand on a narcissist. How to make peace with what the narcissist doesn't have to give, which is a whole lot. And finally, today I did make a video about the verbal abuse post-final discard, when they usually say the worst things at that point. Can you put a straw in it? Tips on breaking codependency. Well, Tracy, the codependency is like a behavior. It's behaviors behind that. So if we can think about our behaviors of needing to rescue people, that would be one thing that we could do to help start breaking that codependency. Starting to be mindful of our behaviors. Once we actually know what the codependency is, and that's basically putting others before yourself and feeling like you need to rescue people. And it's what codependency is like. It's not even like you come last. It's like you don't come at all. It's like you're not even on the list of priority at all, not even last. So it's really lopsided at that point. It's really lopsided at that point. So I think, you know, especially for the people that have it really hard, just giving yourself more time to make decisions might be a good idea as well with codependency. Because, you know, a person comes to you with your problem and you feel like you have to take it on. When you're trying to break that habit, it's probably a good idea to say, I'll let you know, like create a situation or give a reply that would give you more time so that you're not doing that knee-jerk yes and coming to the rescue and overextending yourself. And then later on, you're like, oh, I didn't really want to do that. Or you realize they were asking you to overextend yourself. So create a situation when you are used to putting other people first and just being that rescuer. Always give yourself a little bit more time until you get more comfortable with saying no. Okay? Because you got to build, that's a muscle that you have to build up when you're used to being somewhat of a people pleaser at that point. My biggest, this is Mona. My biggest thing is closure. I have so much anger, and I know I will never get that from him at all. It's hard. He lives 6 minutes from me with a new supply. Yeah, Mona, in your situation, you definitely had a lot to swallow. And you're absolutely right. A narcissist is not about giving you closure, because that might require them to admit some faults, actually be peaceful and decent. They're not about really resolving things, because they thrive in chaos and confusion. Because if you're not confused, you're the opposite, right? You understand. They don't want you really in a good state to make the right decisions. They want you to be susceptible for their abuse. But it sounds like at least you have some logical awareness and knowing that you're not going to get that from the narcissist. And it's going to take time, because some things are more devastating than others. Everything is not on the same level. It really isn't, Mona. So that's going to take some time, because it hasn't been that long. It's not going to be overnight. You know, but it's good to feel the anger. Don't think that that's a bad thing. You should get angry. That's a good thing that you are getting angry. Yeah, you got to work on that, Tracy. But start by giving yourself more time to make decisions for when other people approach you about what you can do for them, okay? You can start there. Dawn, I learned being a people pleaser from my parents. Yeah. Sometimes we learn it from our parents because they could have been a people pleaser, or we learn it from our parents because they made it our business, our job to never tell them no in a certain sense, never have a voice, never have that individuality. And that's like teaching you that your worth comes from what you can do. I'm 12 days out. Woo, that's fresh. No contact. And this is Denise. The narc has added 25 to 30 new Facebook friends. He is 52. These women are ages 18 to 30. But you know what, Denise? First of all, you counting the people that he's adding on his friends list? That's a no-no. You got it bad. But I understand. But you know, if he's a narcissist, he's going to be seeking new supply. Especially you guys are 12 days out. I'm sure he had a secondary supply already, but you know, ain't nothing better than new supply to a narcissist, and this one is chronic. And you see he's going with these younger girls because he probably feels like, you know, they're less experienced in life, and he can manipulate them. A lot of times that's what older men like about younger women. They'll say, you know, oh, she doesn't have baggage, she this and that, she's fresh, she'll go with the flow. You know, they have a lot more patience for the BS, honestly. They have a whole lot more patience. But stop stalking his Facebook if you can, Denise. And you're only 12 days out, so it might be hard for you to break that habit just yet because we go through phases. But hopefully you don't stay in that phase too long because it doesn't help you. It's human nature, but it's not really helping you. Because now your mind is going, too focused on him at that point. Tracy, your ex has been trying to hoover you. I've been ignoring him. Does that hurt him? I get happy thinking so. It does. If he really wants to get in touch with you, depending on how much he does, it does have some kind of effect on him. He is realizing it if he had you once, being able to just scoop in and communicate with you. It does affect him on some level, but remember, they're not really attached to us. So their level of care and the level of care that we might like them to have over something like this, it may be a little different than what you might be thinking. Okay, he's realizing he's losing control over you on some level. But, if he keeps trying, it hasn't really set in his mind yet. Embrace says, be angry, go through grief, then realize you've won. Yes, you have to. It's healthy to feel those emotions. I haven't won. I feel broken. Yeah, Don, I want to have a session with you as well. You're the second person I would like to have a session with. So that we can talk more about your situation. Okay. Right. It is perception. Tracy's talking about the mindset, but yes, it's the perception. Does anyone still feel the narcissist energy still lingering around them even years later after they are no longer physically in your life? I would hope not. But as far as, what do you mean by feeling the energy? Like, do you mean because you haven't forgot about the situation? Chances are you'll never forget about it. I wouldn't consider that their energy per se. Don't count memories per se. So, if you could tell me what you mean by the energy, like what you're counting as the energy per se. Love warrior. So Mona says, my ex is 40 and she's 22, and he begged me to get my tubes removed, and now they're having a baby. She's baby mama number 5. Were you guys married, Mona? Right. I have limited support, no help when needed, no fun. I feel like a drone and robot. Yeah. I'm going to be contacting you, Dawn, after the live chat so we can set up our session. Robert Barnes. She knows better than to hoover here. Trust me. Okay. Okay, Robert. Say go where? Back there. Sounds like a soul tie that needs to be broken. Possibly. My ex is a borderline narc and psychopath. Yes, I feel lots of negative energy 15 years later. Yeah, that's a lot of time to be around that energy. I hear his name everywhere, and I keep attracting very similar situations with other people who remind me of my past. It feels like some sort of psychic hook. Okay. All right. So, love warrior, you got some shadow work to do. And trust me, anybody can attract a narcissist. Because you could do your shadow work and still attract a narcissist, but you're going to be sending them out of there in like not even 1 second. They're not going to last long. You're going to feel the vibe, and they're going to be out of there. So, anyone can attract a narcissist, but you're just not going to keep them around. But if you're saying everybody that you keep attracting seems to be this narcissist, and how long are these relationships lasting? Are they like brief? Are you getting rid of them? Are you staying in extensively, or years, or even 1 year? You know, these are the type of questions that would let me know, you know, if it's just you bumped into a narcissist and you sent them back where they came from, or you're attracting them and you're actually, you know, really starting these relationships and hanging in there way longer than you should be. Right, Mona, I remember he called off your wedding 50 days beforehand, and the next week he was with her. I still have my wedding dress. Yeah, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. We're going to have to talk about that. Hey, E. Amos. I feel like I'm recovering, but got a long way. Oh, recovering, but got a long way to go because I still get angry. Yeah, I don't know how long you've been, you know, no contact at this point, so it's hard for me to say with that, okay? Tracy, but it's usually not this overnight process because they do a number. They do a number on the soul, and it's bruised, you know? 90 days, yeah, it hasn't been long. And how long you guys been together, Tracy? Three years, yeah. So you're not going to just be over that in 90 days. It's going to take some time. But does anyone have any questions about any of the videos that I put up? I know they're pretty comprehensive, so you probably be like, nah, you pretty much said it, Lakia. But anyone has any questions about the narcissist discard, or the things that they say, or forgiving yourself, or the devalue phase, you know, or about how to make your peace. My ex-narc married his new supply within 4 months. We only have been broken up for 4 months. Hard for me to get over that. Yeah, I made a video about that, Mina Smith. I don't know how extensive you gone into my playlist, but they always have somebody in the background, so it's very easy for them to jump from one relationship to another because they are rarely faithful. And people get really hurt because they jump into that relationship, and then sometimes they just really go nose end, meaning, you know, they run right into a marriage. But chances are this person has been in the background for quite some time. So it's not really quite as much of a jump as it appears. You know, E. Amos, it feels every man I know, family included, are narcs. Does anyone else have too much contact with narcs? Yeah, I understand that feeling as well. I became really observant, and they're definitely on a rise. But, you know, everyone has some form of narcissism in them, but everyone's not a narcissist. You feel me? Everyone has some narcissistic tendencies, and that's healthy for our confidence and whatnot, but everyone's not a narcissist. How do you get over the confusion of isolation? Well, it's not really a confusion to me, but I can talk about it with you. The confusion, well, the isolation just stems from, at least when I went into it, it was due to me not trusting people. Like, that narcissist had been such a horrible person, and I personally had been cycles and cycles of different narcissists with different names and faces, basically. And at that point, the last one I had so many negative repercussions. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm done with people. And I isolated myself for almost about 18 months. I was so cool with being with myself. But that was really good for me and my shadow work. I didn't stay in that place because while I was, them 18 months, I was going to therapy and I was working on myself, and I naturally progressed to the point where I was at work one day, and I think it might have been Friday night, and I was like, I want to go to a happy hour. I miss socializing. Like, I really wanted to get back out there again. It was a natural, I let myself set my own pace. Like, I didn't just force myself to do it, but I know there can be situations where it's more extreme. But some people might say 18 months is a long time, but if I was at the time, I think 36, and I've been dealing with narcissism since I was practically born, 18 months is not a long time to take to do that shadow work when we're talking about over 30 years of dealing with narcissists. So it's normal to go through a phase where you don't want to be bothered with people. It's like, I could, leave this. People say I could take it or leave it. It's like, I could leave this because it's too much drama. It's like, now I got to figure out if you're a narcissist, if you really care. Like, I was tired and I needed a moment. So it's natural to have that feeling. How long have you been in isolation, and have you been utilizing that isolation for self-development? Have you been using that time to actually put into yourself, or have you been using that time to wallow and mope and just further like get into a depression? Are you making it work for you? Because there's nothing wrong with taking me time and taking the time that you need for yourself, especially after a toxic relationship. You need to. You see what the narcissists do. They don't take that time. They're just jumping with the next person. But we need that time for self-reflection so that we can reflect and then correct what we need to correct so that we don't end up back there again. How do I get that peace? Forgive myself for what he did to me and my daughter. Well, Mona, you're in the thick of it right now because you're still in the midst of dealing with the situation. So you're not even no contact per se because you're still going to court. You're still kind of actively in the situation right now. And you have a lot to juggle right now. So you're being triggered by having to deal with these court proceedings. It might be hard to get a certain kind of healing right now when you're in the midst of all of this going on. But peace for me stems from God, my relationship with God, honestly. He says to come to him and he'll give you rest and all of that kind of thing. So prayer has helped me a lot. I do like a 7 a.m. prayer every morning with 4 other people. We're on like this chat line, and maybe I can invite you to it, give you the number and the extension. And some mornings I'd be so tired, I'm like, 7 a.m. because they do it 7 days a week. But I tell you, I really feel the benefit of that on my life. So increasing your prayer life, because I'm not only doing it at 7 a.m., I'm doing this at least 3 times a day, and I'm talking to God throughout the day. So these things, I do feel the effects of it on my life. So when you're going through a crisis like that, you need God more than ever. Wait, how did the chat get all the way back up there? I keep telling myself he's not turned into a Prince Charming for the new supply. No, Mona, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. We definitely need a session. Because after what he's done to you, there's no way that, you definitely should never think anything like that with him. Like that part of the relationship, the romantic part, you should be utterly wanting to throw up about that. So we'll have to talk about that. I had a hard time forgiving myself. I thought forgiving myself meant that I was condoning his behaviors, but I realized that forgiveness is for me. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a lot of things that we have to forgive. And I talked about that in my video about forgiveness. Because yes, we're forgiving ourselves, we're working on forgiving the narcissist, and then any other situation, like in my example, I felt like, you know, I had to get forgiveness for my daughters for giving them that kind of father. So I was trying to forgive myself for that aspect of it. You know, it's so many layers involved. But yes, the forgiveness is just so that you can have that peace, because it is a toxic energy inside of you when you're holding on to it like that. I just want him out of my system. It's been 16 months. I hear you, Letitia. So that comes with some shadow work. I mean, but do you feel a difference, or do you feel a progression? Letitia, you shouldn't be feeling like you did on day one. Do you feel a progression? I'm feeling confused about the isolation. Okay, I think we talked about. My mother was a depressed narcissist. My father was a depressed narcissist and a psychopath. That's really rough, Dawn. That is really rough. Whew, 2 narcissists. That is really rough. Yeah, they're not happy on the inside. And psychopath, they're really on another level. That's where I'm at now. I have always had a man in my life. I'm in therapy too, and I'm doing my inner work on me. It will be a year next month that he discarded me. Yeah, there was a time in my life where I realized that I always had a man in my life, because I married young, and then after that divorce, I was just like a serial dater. But there was a time where I had to just stop that as well and reevaluate my need to have someone in my life. You know, sometimes when you marry young like that, you're just used to it and you're just picking up that cycle like that. But you got to be able to sit in your own company. Now I'm my own best friend. I can get lost with myself. I have so many hobbies and activities that I like to do just even on my own. I'm not afraid to go places on my own. I'll go on a whole vacation to another country by myself. See, once you get to that type of comfort with yourself, you won't be so reliant on other people. You know, you have to learn how to enjoy yourself. That's a must in your shadow work for all of you, if you don't yet. I hate that at times. Although few and far between, I miss him, but I simply busy myself and forget about him, or I'll remember all the bad shit and drama I went through. Right. It seems like maybe almost that you still have a little bit of a trauma bond there to break. Perhaps. Just a little. Carrie, Lakia, you're the best, as you help so many of us in our sad times. Aw, thanks, Carrie. How are you feeling today? Thank you so much for your support. Your videos are helping me so much. You're welcome, Mina. Amen. Yes. Profiteria. Excuse me. Lynn, True E. It is good to be busy. Yes, it is. And I made a video about filling the gaps, guys. You're welcome, Tara. I know, Dawn. I don't miss mine at all either. Woo! Kara Wilmington. Prayer works for my peace. Absolutely. Where would I be without that? Letitia Preston. Yes. However, I get triggers. Yeah, that's normal. You get triggers because you've been through a trauma. But as long as you recognize what those triggers are, you can actually work on minimizing them up to eliminating them. But you have to have awareness of what those triggers are. I might have to mute my phone too. It sure does work. Prayer works. Both of your parents are on drugs and they are both narcissistic to the core. I see now every man I've been with was my dad, and I was searching for his love through men. Yeah, that absolutely happens. That absolutely happens. Mona. My siblings are narcs too. My older brother tried to get me to break no contact with my middle brother. What to do? Well, Dawn, what do you want to do? I mean, why did you go no contact with your brother? He must have crossed a really, he must have crossed a boundary, you know, on a level that would make you go no contact with him and not your older brother. So it really depends on what was going on, what did he do, and, you know, there's some things to consider. E. Amos, thank you. I will check it out. Robert, my isolation was a time to self-reflect. Absolutely, Robert. That's what I was saying. Good. Still in, but I appreciate the supports that I have to deal with some of my issues. My deepest pain came from the pregnancy manipulation. Yeah. Yeah, that's supposed to be, you know, a beautiful time in a couple's life, and it could be a trigger for you in the future with another woman. So try to work on that. Try to work on that so that it doesn't get in the way in the future. Right. 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 We have to, as far as being unbothered, that comes with walking in reality, walking in the truth. Once you just really hold on to that. And it comes with getting it out of your system, okay? And I'm glad you said that, Tracy, because someone said something earlier. I don't know if it was on my Facebook page, and it kind of, you know, or maybe I was just thinking about one of my clients, and she's been through one cycle of abuse. And if you didn't know, typically a person, I believe they say, goes through about 8 cycles, 6 to 8 cycles of abuse. So I'm wanting her to be strong and really wanting it to be one and done with her. But I understand that people really have to go through their process. And this goes for the woman that stays with a man in a domestic violence situation, and maybe she's gone back to him 5 or 6 times, and then on that 7th time, she reached her breaking point. So I understand that people have to go through their process, and I'm in no judgment zone for that. I am. I just try my best to tell them what they're going to inevitably understand anyway. But sometimes in those situations, I just feel like our emotions are overpowering our logic. When your emotions start overpowering your logic and your heart get all in there, So, you know, and then when we're first fresh on the no contact, our emotions haven't caught up to our logic yet. And that's what makes us really vulnerable to going back to the narcissist. But if we logically know that, we can say, you know what? My emotions haven't caught up to my logic. That's why I'm still feeling this. Your emotions haven't caught up to your logic yet. And yes, you're still breaking that trauma bond. It hasn't been enough time, or the soul tie if you were sexual. You stole from your middle brother, so he bullied you. You went no contact with him and then broke it. Your oldest brother is trying to get you to break no contact. Okay, wait, I'm trying to understand your question. You stole from your middle brother, or did he steal from you? Is that a typo? It says, I stole from my middle brother, so he bullied you. So he got mad for you stealing and he bullied you. You went no contact from the middle brother, but you broke that no contact. Now your oldest brother is trying to get you to break no contact again. Break no contact for your middle brother or for the older brother? Because you're saying, again, you were just talking about the middle brother. So break the no contact again for your middle brother because he's still going to bully you. It's really buffering anyone having an issue. Oh, really? My internet isn't working that well? Aw. It's a gift in the experiences we can spot narcissists. Absolutely. Lakia, do you have any videos about narcissistic family dynamic or incest in narcissistic families? Not specifically, but I'll work on that, Lynn H. Town. What I did when I talked about the Jezebel spirit, I believe I mentioned incest in that video, but it wasn't like in an in-depth fashion. But yes, I will be getting into the family dynamics as well. Absolutely, Tracy. The narcissists, they never deserved us. Yes, we are so used to thinking emotionally, it's hard to think logical. The logic is a weak muscle that needs to be developed and strengthening us. Absolutely, Propheteria. Yes, and especially in instances with a narcissist, we have to use our logic. They're running off of emotions themselves. And if we join in with them, that's going to be creating a catastrophe. Someone has to be logical in that situation. What is the best way to help my adult daughters heal without pushing too much? I have sent them videos, talked about what I have learned. The oldest is open to it, however, the other two are not. So, Tara, are they still in the relationships? Because you're saying heal, so does that mean they've gone no contact at this point? And the man or the partner is removed from the situation? Yes, Lynn. Lynn H. Town, your intuition is your best friend. Because guess what? Early on, my guts was telling me, it was alarming me for sure. But I've learned that lesson moving forward, and I hope that you guys have as well. He said his ex was a narcissist. I had no clue about it. He really chewed up my head, researched and found he was a narc, let him go, but still shocked by the whole narcissistic thing awful. He said his ex was the narcissist. So yeah, he deflected. They tell on themselves that way. So when you meet a narcissist, oftentimes we don't know it in the beginning, but when we meet them and they're saying all the horrible things that their exes did, they're the ones who did that stuff. Okay, good, Propheteria. Yeah, because it's running smooth for me. I hope everyone else is being able to see things. Yeah. By your father, Dawn? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I grew up in that dynamic, and I sprinkled it in some videos, like when I talked about whether a survivor should speak up, Lynn H. Town, and then I talked about in a family dynamic, when, let's say, a sibling be like, oh, mom is a narcissist. One sibling might go ahead and take that, and the other one might reject it. Oh, because mama can do no wrong. When we start getting into the family dynamics, it can get a little sticky. And then usually when a narcissist is raising a child, they'll typically become a narcissist or a codependent. So if your sibling became that narcissist, they're like the parent. So they're going to want to take up for the parent, and they're not going to want to see any negativity in regards to the parent. It's interesting. I've been there and done that too. Tracy, I'm finding out so much about me. I'm so strong. Absolutely. Anyone that can survive this abuse and still walk around in a sane mind and function in this world, you are strong. Especially after years of dealing with it. Absolutely. Empaths have to be in tune with their own gut feelings. And that is the key word, your own, because we're used to sucking in or absorbing other people's feelings and letting that overcome us. And then there's something called like an enmeshment, which makes you feel overly responsible for other people in their life and what's going on in it. That's good. Sometimes we need those videos, and whatever helps you stay strong, Seashell 200, just replay those videos whenever you feel weak. Everyone needs to have a playlist. I'm so sorry to hear that, Dawn. But as him being a narcissistic psychopath, I'm sure he has no remorse about that. Their father has used the oldest to get to me. He is now starting with the third since I went no contact for 4 months. Their father has used the oldest to get to me, right? And they will put children, they'll use their children as puppets. He is now starting with the third since I went no contact, right? Right. Yeah. Narcissists, they shouldn't be allowed to procreate. They should not be allowed to procreate. So, is anyone having a problem getting rid of a narcissist? You guys were cool with that video, right? I can go down the list of the things that I said. You know, I have Tracy. Okay. But I know you watched both of the videos, Tracy, because I've seen your comments. But I'm just going to briefly go down the what I have here. It was 12 things that I've given so far. And I said basically have nothing to spare. Right. So, So what are you guys doing when the narcissist, when he's calling you? Is it ringing? Is he able to ring your phone, Tracy, or do you have him on reject? Because you should have him on reject. He should be going straight to voicemail or wherever it goes for a rejected person. Don't even let him get rings. Girl. He got your work phone number. How often is he calling you? Is it like on a harassing level? He's blocked, good, but he shows up unannounced at your job. In the front of the building, I guess. I'm sure he doesn't have a badge to get in. Can't you have the cops stop calling your job? Right. Days apart. Yeah, that's unprofessional. Is it your personal phone number? To your, right? Restraining order. Yeah, restraining order would stop him from calling you. Because he's not supposed to have any contact with you at that point. That's good, Tara. Tara was able to change her phone number. I know a lot of people don't like to do that. But if you could at least use the block function. Where do they find the energy? They're taking other people's energy. I made a video about that. They're walking away with your energy, so you're feeling drained and they're sucking in supply. That supply is their energy. That's where they're finding the energy. And they got those demonic spirits in them, and you got to rebuke those. Okay. Well, at least you're able to do that. But, you know, a restraining order is something to think about. They kill jobs. Watch out. Yeah. 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 Carrie was saying that, you know, she lost her job behind a narcissist, Tracy, so be careful with that. Kayla is also co-signing with the restraining order for you, Tracy. Yeah. I would start a paper trail. That might not be a bad idea, going to start a paper trail. I would get the restraining order. I would try to get the restraining order first because, you know, involving your work HR could seem so messy with you. So if you can take care of it outside of work, even though he's calling your job, before you necessarily bring them in, I would do it that way first. You know, because it's going to reflect on you having drama. Hold on. I was just finally muting that. So he has access to me all day. He doesn't bother me, I have to say. Okay, I was about to say, I know he's probably not going to do anything that would have you be able to go to HR. Cheryl, sometimes in those situations, you might be able to switch to another department or work. I don't know if it's just an office job where you can, or if it's a situation where you can, but who wants to, I know you don't really want to change your time of work and stuff like that. And I don't know how much time you have with the company, how invested you are. You know, if you're working as a temp or something, or if you really wanted to be there long term, if you're over him or if he's your subordinate. It's kind of a lot of things that would factor into a work environment with a narcissist to be able to know what might be your best way of maneuvering around them, Cheryl. That's good. I know you're happy about that, Ilac. Her narcissist no longer works at her job. The narc is quiet. I think it's a permanent discard. He knows I'm on to him. It's possible, but sometimes they just give it time, and when they're real quiet, they're busy with another supply line. So we always kind of got to stay on guard and knowing that narcissists have hoovered people 20 years later. So, yep, they're energy vampires. He begins with hoovering my family, so I've distanced myself from them also. Well, some of them could be narcissists, right? They can't just understand, like, hey, this is a toxic dude that I'm not with anymore. Were you guys married? Was the relationship that in depth that he built, you know, relationships with your family like that, Amos? Yeah, I would write everything down, Tracy. Keep track of all the phone calls. Kayla says, mine is manipulating my family too. No contact with them too. Get away from it all. That's crazy. How he have your family eating out of his hand, Kayla. Your video helped my mind from not breaking because as a man, I really never believed in my life that I would experience something so dark and unbelievably painful. My reality was gone. Yeah. Are you talking about the one that I uploaded this morning? About the verbal abuse and with the final discard? Oh, yeah. You have a lot of time, Cheryl. Are you higher up in the ranks than him? Yeah. Yeah, it sucks at work. I had a little bit of that, but it was very temporary. Because I say it just maybe for 4 to 5 months I had to deal with it. I ain't even going to tell you guys that situation. Yes, he does. God does love you. And replay that video whenever you need, Seven Ferguson. And I'm always here for coaching if you need that one-on-one, okay? I created some courses, guys. I created some courses, one on boundaries and one on self-esteem, that I want to make available to you guys in PDF format. For anybody that wants to do like some extra work, you can just take the course on your own. And the courses are basically like $4.99, but they're really in depth. We talk about how to build it and why it needs to be built after narcissistic abuse. And it's helping you do that shadow work. So that's something that I'm going to make available to you guys really soon, within the next week. I just got to go over it. Yeah. I put a lot of work into those PowerPoint presentations, okay? Higher in the ranks than he is. Okay. Well, do you have any power over where he works, or is he your subordinate, or are you able to cleverly get him moved somewhere else? Hello, no, we dated for 2 years. He's a parasite leech. He's delusional, stating that my brothers are his brothers. They have no identity. Right. Yeah, he's doing that because he wants them to stay close to him so that he can be close to you. Aw. So Mona and Dawn, I'm going to be contacting the both of you to schedule a session. Okay. Yeah, I was reading Cheryl's messages, and she just got a sticky situation. So he's not saying anything to you, Cheryl, and you just have to see him. So I don't know the hold on a minute. So I don't know the extent to your relationship with him, Cheryl, or how long you've been no contact with him, but you know, excuse my French, but hopefully you can get to the doses of I don't give a fuck. You know, you got to get to those doses with a narcissist. But that's going to come with doing that shadow work and healing and releasing and letting go of what you went through in that relationship. Oh, yeah. I definitely want to speak to you, Don. He has hoovered by text. When did he do that? But you've been no contact for 4 months, Cheryl, but when was the last time he texted you? Nathan, bring me my extension cord. Right. We have to get to that point. And I don't want us to, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And then when's the last time he texted you before that? It's upstairs on the side of my bed. Thank you. 2 weeks. Well, Cheryl, do you want to do a coaching session like every 2 to 3 weeks? Okay. Well, you might be on to something right now. You might actually be on to something. The kids are out of school right now and they're about to start tripping. They're out for the whole summer. My battery's getting low though. I don't want this to cut off on you guys. Cheryl, why don't you hit me up on CoachLakia@gmail.com? Maybe we could set up a session and really like brainstorm on this, okay? But it sounds like you might actually be able to have an HR issue with him. If he's hitting you up that frequent and you've made it clear that you don't want to be bothered with him. Okay? But it sounds like you actually might save all those text messages and make sure it's clear that you were telling him. You don't even have to say anything back at this point, but if you were already telling him like weeks and weeks ago, leave me alone, don't text me anymore. Your kids or my kids? Ooh, I'm at 5%, y'all. You know this is about to be going. Hold on a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Because I'm hoping maybe over the weekend I'll have time to figure out how to start using my laptop. Good. Don't respond at all because he's setting himself up right now. He about to be out of a job or minimally suspended. Okay. All right, Don. So I'm going to be emailing Don and Mona, and I'm going to have to end this live chat. I was going to do an hour anyway, and we're at almost 57 minutes here. I appreciate it speaking with you guys today, and I'm going to be doing more live chats moving forward, okay? Where you can come and just ask me some questions and talk about the videos I uploaded and, you know, anything under the sun, these narcissists. Just keep doing the work, guys. You're welcome, Tracy. I like telling him to leave me alone, then blocking him, and he still went to spam emails, texts, and I showed HR. Good, good. Aw, thank you. You know, we kind of freestyling a little bit. Bye, guys. I'll be emailing you, Dawn. Bye, Lynn. You guys have a great weekend. Narc free.